Good morning. I wanted to do a quick compare and contrast video of two tablets that I have in my possession. The first one is a Dell Venue 8 Pro, so it's their 8-inch Windows 8 tablet. And this tablet, which is a Nextbook 10.1, it's available at Walmart, and I'll kind of go over why I bought it here in a moment. But I first wanted to do just a quick overview of this Dell Venue 8 Pro. I've had it for about a year, a little over a year now, and I've really liked it, but it had some drawbacks, mainly being that it didn't have a physical keyboard, obviously, that came with it. And as a tablet, it works really good. It's pretty snappy, pretty quick. It's not, I've wiped it because I'm actually going to be selling this, and that's what prompted me to do the video. It's pretty snappy, pretty quick for the laptop, or excuse me, for a tablet, and I really like it. The screen on this is extremely nice. I really like the screen. Probably one of the best I've had on a tablet. But then, like I said, it doesn't come with a keyboard. Dell, at the time it was released, said they're going to come out with a keyboard. They eventually did come out with one, but availability was pretty low for the keyboard. So I ended up going with this Fintai, I believe is how you pronounce it. I did a review on my other channel a while ago on this keyboard. Actually, it's a really good keyboard. It's actually very accurate. The feel of it's pretty good, but it's very small. And that's one of the reasons why I'm selling it. I have big, stubby, chubby fingers, and I'm a touch typist, and my fingertips are almost bigger than the keys themselves, and so I'm just, on this keyboard, I'm not very accurate, despite it having a nice feel to it and accuracy of the button press. If you want to type something, it connects via Bluetooth to the device. You hit a key, wait a few seconds, and then you start typing, and then you're good to go. After you stop typing, I believe it's like 30 seconds or so of no activity on the keyboard. It turns itself off. You have to push a key, it comes back on. Battery life on this keyboard is excellent. It lasts for hours, or excuse me, weeks, I should say. The whole time I've had this keyboard now probably 6-7 months. I use it every single day, several times a day, and I think I've charged it just a handful of times. And those times I've charged, I'm like, oh, I'm plugging in my tablet, let me go ahead and just plug in the keyboard as well. I've never actually run the battery down to empty on it. So if this was a slightly bigger keyboard, this is actually an excellent keyboard. I think I paid like $35 for the keyboard and the magnetic folding case that folds together. A couple of drawbacks though is it is magnetic, and it holds on pretty well unless you flex the case at all, and then it just falls out. And it seems to do it at the most inopportune times. And then if you go from from a closed position, you have to, obviously it's quicker and a little easier with two hands, but you have to unfold it, you have to reposition the keyboard just the way you need it, and then you're ready. Well, you're not quite ready to go because you have to turn the keyboard on. So, if you need to be quick, it's not the quickest in the world. Then, so I wanted something with a bigger keyboard, and I wanted something that the keyboard was integrated with the tablet, so that I didn't have so much to mess with. So I was looking around, and Asus has one that's fairly inexpensive, about $300. And there's some others out there, but I saw this one at Walmart, and it was $180. And I thought, well, for $180, shoot, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go, see how it's like, see what it's like, see if I like it at all or not. Because if nothing else, I can always return it to Walmart after, within so many days. And for $180, I don't know if you could, without spending a lot more money, if you could actually get a better Windows 8 tablet. To be perfectly honest, I've had it now for about a week and using it every day. It's not perfect, but again, it was also $180. So just a couple things. Keyboard on this, much bigger, much closer to a natural feel. In addition to that, you also get a touchpad, which the touchpad is actually, it has a nice click. It's a multi-touch, so you can scroll. If you tap with 2 fingers, it's a right click, which it doesn't want to do right now. See, that just 2-finger tap gives you a right click as well as actual right clicking. So it's actually it has a nice feel to it. If you swipe, you can swipe between screens on it. Bring up the menu, swiping from the right. So touchpad plus a keyboard, where this only had a keyboard and everything I had to do on the screen. And the only way to plug in a mouse is to use a charging port. This has a separate charging port here on the side, which is a little round plug. It does have a micro USB, so if you were to plug in anything to it, it would need to be plugged into an adapter and then plugged into that board. I'll plug that in a second. The keyboard, it has a nice feel to it. It's not quite as clicky as this. It's a little bit softer. But I notice, I'm a touch typist. I've been typing for years. I've quite high accuracy in my typing, and this keyboard is not very accurate. It misses keystrokes. Where I know I've hit the button, I've hit it cleanly and solidly, it's missed it. So it probably has about a 85-90% accuracy rate, which is kind of low for a keyboard in my opinion. So the keyboard is for, I wouldn't want to write a dissertation on it. For notes, what I typically do with my tablet, which is basically note taking in meetings, things like that, it's fine. It's not too annoying. But I was writing an email last night on it, and it was a fairly lengthy email, and I had a lot of times where I had to go back and type in the letter that it missed. So it was getting a little frustrating after a little while. So it's not perfect. If you don't plan on doing a lot of typing, it's probably just fine. Or maybe I am not hitting things as cleanly on this as I expect to, or I think that I am. So could be that. The other thing on this is the size of the built-in storage. It's 32 gigs, but you lose space obviously because of formatting, and then it has an almost 5 gig partition. So you only get 24 available gigs, and all I've installed on this currently is Office and of course Minecraft. Who doesn't own Minecraft? And I only have 13 available gigs of storage on the main storage, and then I have a SD card that I installed, which also is a 32 gig SD card. So this also is a 32 gig, and when I had exactly the same things installed, Office 2013, and one thing, this does come with Office 2013, this one does not, which, this was nearly $300 without the keyboard. This was $180. So, but this came with Office, and when I installed Office, had Minecraft on there and nothing else. I had about 19 gigs available, so I'm losing, what would that be, about 6 gigs of space between the two difference. Not quite sure what is eating up. Well, this doesn't have the partition on it that I noticed. You had like 28 gigs available on this laptop, or excuse me, tablet, before you had anything installed, including the OS. So now, one thing that this has, or I should say doesn't have, is it only has 1 gig of memory right there. So the processors, this one has a 3735 Atom processor. This one has a 3740. I couldn't find anything that said that there was a technical difference between the two, and they both seem to perform more or less exactly the same as far as speed. I did a couple quick speed tests, and I noticed no difference. It says 1.33 gigahertz. It will step up to 1.8 gigahertz. This one, when you load the property screen, it says 1.33 gigahertz. It steps up to 1.8 gigahertz. So as far as processor speed goes, not any real difference between the two. So that's nice. This has 1 gig. The Dell Venue 8 Pro has 2 gigs. And I definitely notice if I have, 10, 15 web pages open and I'm trying to play a YouTube video, it definitely will slow the system down quite a bit and be laggy. But if I'm doing, a couple of things here or there, not a lot of multitasking, which I don't expect to do on a tablet. I expect it to do kind of one thing, maybe 2 things at a time. You'll maybe stream some music while I'm surfing the web or something. It is perfectly respectable for that. It plays the YouTube, a YouTube video without issue while browsing some web pages. And it does play, if I can bring my mouse here, it does play Minecraft as well. It needs to load up. But, with default settings, it's playable. It's not the prettiest, it's not perfect, but it is playable on it. So I know a lot of people are looking for a Minecraft system, and I can actually play with this touchpad. I don't necessarily need an external mouse. A couple of things that this has here on the side. It has the headphone jack. It has the charging port, micro USB, but also has a micro HDMI port as well, which the Dell Venue 8 Pro does not have, which is kind of nice actually, if you ever want to use it to stream to a television or anything. Has a light sensor, microphone up on top. It has your power button, which on this system, when I hit the power button, turns off the screen. I think it's just turning off the screen, where with the Dell Venue 8 Pro actually puts it to sleep. So like say you have Windows updates you want to do, and you want them to finish, but you don't want to burn a lot of battery with your screen on while they're running the updates. I've pushed this button, turned off the screen, came back, turned it back on, when it had 100 updates to do, and it had finished the updates. Where with Venue 8 Pro, if I hit the power button, it put it to sleep, and it did not do anything. It didn't complete updates or anything. Volume rocker, and the Windows key, which I've never actually used this for anything on either laptop, because you just simply swipe from the side, which I find to be much easier. The other side here is clean. Now if I take it off the base, if it'll let me, it's got strong magnets. It will pick up the keyboard by just picking up the top, and on the bottom here you have the connection for the keyboard. And one thing on this that I wish was better, but kind of like, is it does have stereo speakers here on the back, but they're rear firing, which means they fire away from you. So even if you have the volume up loud, it's kind of hard to hear stuff in any kind of noisy environment, and it's not as loud as you necessarily want in a quiet environment, unless you turn the laptop or the tablet towards you, or you cup it so that you can direct the sound back towards yourself. I would like to see these either on the side, so that if they're at least not facing away from you, or if they could find a way to have them around this. It has kind of a big bezel. If they could have it somewhere on the bezel. For $180 though, this is definitely a very solid tablet. It has very respectable performance. Comes with a keyboard and touchpad. Touchpad's really nice. Keyboard's mediocre. I probably would have been willing to pay an extra $20, maybe $30 for a couple things. Slightly better keyboard. The keyboard has, it's just a keyboard and touchpad. There's nothing else in it. I would love to see, you know, a full-size USB on the keyboard for a mouse, or like if you have to use a USB drive of any kind. I would like to see an extended battery built into the keyboard as well, because one thing is this is quite top heavy, and you can feel it. You know, it kind of wants to tip back because everything's here, and they're just, you know, keyboard's just keyboard. There's not a lot to a keyboard, so there's not a lot of weight down here. So those are just a couple of things. Oh, and I would like more memory. Of course, who wouldn't want more memory? I really think anymore these days for multimedia and multitasking, 4 gigs of memory really should be the minimum. But of course, that cost money, would have brought up the price. So, you know, for again $180, I really shouldn't complain. It does have this kind of rubbery soft touch, which is a terrible fingerprint magnet. The keyboard has rubber feet on it, but these ones are kind of useless by the hinge, because when you fold the hinge, it rests on this hinge, and then it rests just on the tip of these. So these actually should be pushed out a little bit further to the edge, or made maybe a little bit taller, for when the hinge is folded out and the screen is opened. So, but anyways, that's my overview of the Nextbook 10.1. Again, available very inexpensively at Walmart. In summary, it's a very solid machine for what you pay for. You get a lot. It functions perfectly well for light duty, which is exactly what it's designed for. Plays multimedia, browse the web, check your email. Has a full version of Windows 8.1. So I'm really looking forward to what they come out with in the future. Nextbook is a low-cost brand. So, you know, when Windows 10 comes out, I know there's going to be different pricing with Windows 10, even more so than with Windows 8. So, you know, looking forward to see what they can do when the operating system is more, or excuse me, is less of the overall price of the device, and they can maybe slot some more hardware in there, and maybe add some features that would make the device a step up, even from, you know, the Dell Venue. Again, this is a solid device. Nothing wrong with it. But for the price, I think I got more system out of this tablet than out of the Venue 8 Pro. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them.